Hey, what's going on, guys? Nick Unsworth here, and welcome to a live Google Hangout for Life on Fire TV. We're super excited because we have a very special guest here today, none other than Suzanne Evans, New York Times best-selling author. Suzanne, I'm just going to share a little bit of the backstory because this is so cool. But Suzanne is a business coach, and she is absolutely incredible. We've worked with Suzanne very closely, and we're getting some coaching for an upcoming event that we've got going on, and she has been absolutely critical for my business. So just to paint the picture a little bit, I had sold the business. I thought that that was my dream, and there I was, moved across the country, got the beachfront place, everything was supposed to be good, and I was freaking miserable. I was absolutely miserable. And I met Shanda Sumter, and I was like, how do you have this amazing lifestyle? She was just glowing with energy. She was super happy, literally had everything that I wanted. And she's like, oh, you don't have a business coach? And I was like, no. And she was like, oh my God, Suzanne's the best. And I just lost it. I was like, I don't care what has to happen. I need to meet this woman. And I did. And it was within about 30 days from that we started working together. And not only did Suzanne name Life on Fire as a business, but she totally took me at this stage where I was almost dead inside. I was financially successful at the time from the business, but I wasn't happy. And so for Suzanne to help take my background story, ask me the question that changed everything, which was, Nick, what pisses you off, and help me clarify my movement and help me clarify what my stance was, that changed everything. Because that literally, she took the essence of Nick Unsworth and the purpose that I have in life and helped me formulate that into Life on Fire. And Suzanne, I will be forever grateful for that. You're an amazing woman and even better business coach. Put on a heck of an event, and I'm super excited to have you here today. So welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I love knowing that you were miserable until you met me. That makes me so happy. No, I'm kidding. But I adore you. I love you. You've been a pleasure to work with and given me so many great ideas. So it's just fun that you came into my life, and then I made you a hostage. So I love that.
Absolutely. So you've been a part of our Page Burner Book Club, which has been awesome. I read it in one sitting. Anytime there's a one-sitting book, I know that's one that hits home hard.
Well, I have to say, that was intentional because I have a small attention span. So when the publisher came to me and said, I have to write a book that somebody can either drink 2 beers or 1 big cup of tea and get through, or I'm not writing it.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, and that was what was so great. It's a book that what I love is the title carries so much impact that there were so many different moments where I literally not only thought about that saying, how you do anything is how you do everything, but I could hear it in your voice.
Uh-oh,
and
scary.
so there was a couple times where, and literally it happened again last night. So I made a goal in April. I was going to go to this men's prayer thing, right, every single Tuesday. It's at 5 in the morning, right? And I was traveling, and it was every excuse in the book to not go. But I would come back, and I would think of that line, think of you saying that, and then I would get there, and amazing things would happen. Last night, I literally pulled 100% all-nighter for no other reason. I was just super inspired. I had this crazy just ideas flowing, and I was like, well, if there's ever a time to not go, it's going to be last night, because I literally got no sleep, and it was like, you know what? How I do anything is how I do everything. So how did you come up with the name for that book? Is it something that you've heard, or give us the backstory on that, on the title?
Absolutely. I first want just to tell everybody you don't have to do anything. You said it's at 5 in the morning?
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything at 5 in the morning to have a life on fire. I just want to make sure you're clear with your people, because you're going to scare the hell out of them if we don't.
I know. I'm scaring myself.
Exactly. Listen, I was in a day job. I was a secretary making $45,000, $50,000 a year, and I read it somewhere. I can't remember where I read it, and I was wondering why I was broke and why I was pissed off and why I was fat and why I was unhappy and all those things. And I read this somewhere, and it was like a light bulb moment, and I was like, I'm not even sure I fully understand what it means, but I understand enough of what it means that I have to do something different. And then fast forward, ended up getting a coach, starting my business, and about a couple of years after that, I was at a seminar, and it was a coach I ended up hiring and working with for a year, and we even became partners in business. And day one of his event, he says it from stage. And he says a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same quote. And I went, oh my gosh, here I go again. And so I've always lived by it. And When I'm in trouble, it's what I think of. When I'm trying to make a decision, it's what I'm thinking of. Just like you said, when you're going, should I do this thing that I committed to or not, it's what I think of. So it's really been a life principle for me for the last 6 years.
It's so powerful, and it's just so cool that reading. I love that by reading one book, you can have a whole new way of living life, and that's I think what's so powerful about the book, and that's why we want to have it in, in the club.
Hell,
Yeah.
you could just read the book title.
I know.
You don't even have to read the book.
That's like a sip of beer right there. That is awesome. So, so tell us about the title of the book, and just I'm very curious just about the whole process, because I just think of you as just an amazing marketer. You put on crazy amazing events. You're great at branding, and your marketing mind is just so brilliant. And I think part of the outcome I want for this show for everybody is not just a look behind the scenes of the book, but also a deeper look just about why did you decide to go the route with a publisher, and like what was some of the behind the scenes of publishing the book, because I think that there's just a lot of story in there. So what was the main inspiration just for writing it, and was it just a message to get out, or were you a lot of like business branding purposes, or?
It was a few things. I had written 2 books before, self-published. One was really a quote book, a thought book, 365 days. The other book was the Hell Yeah Diaries, uncensored outbursts on the path to 7 figures. And I hate writing. I despise writing. I hate writing. It's like my Achilles heel. I'm a talker. I'm a speaker. I'm like, can't we just say it? Why do we need to put it, on paper? And so I wasn't really looking for a book deal, and the publishers met me, and they met me through a mutual friend, and we actually invited the publisher to come do a little talk at something that I was doing. And at the end he goes, let's do a book deal. And I said, maybe, and he goes, no, you're great, and I'd love for you to write a book. So I said, okay, and we set up a meeting, and I really thought that I would write a marketing book. That's what I do. I mean, certainly I do mindset, and I talk about mindset, but my stuff is message and marketing and all of those elements. And so for me, I really thought that they would want a marketing book. And when I got into conversations with them, they said, listen, we've been looking for a female business coach who wasn't soft, who was tell it like it is.
Wait, you're not a softie as a coach?
I can be. I actually do have that side to me, but for the most part, no. And they said, we've been looking for a person who can tell it like it is and really talk from the mindset standpoint, right? Not talk from the marketing standpoint, because there's a lot of marketing books out there, and there's even, there's great marketers that are authors that I can't even touch, right? I look to them. But when we started looking for a book for women, written by a woman, everything was pretty passion-based, right? Everything was pretty soft or love-based.
A little woo-woo in there?
A little woo-woo, and I'm woo, don't get me wrong, but I think that you got to combine woo with realism and perspiration, and so they wanted me to write a mindset book, and I was actually shocked. But I said, all right, I can do this, and when I started thinking about, I took them 3 titles after that, and when I started thinking about what sums up what I believe about mindset, this saying was one of the biggest things, and they said, that's it, absolutely, let's put a business subtitle on it, and let's do it. So that's how it worked out.
Done and done. And so did you end up any ghost writer route, or like what was the process end to end as far as just getting that thing put together?
Every other book I had written had some level of ghostwriting in it. Actually, my good friend, your friend, Matthew Goldfarb, had helped me. And this book, I wrote every piece of it. I have some questions. So I sent it to Matthew after because I don't fancy myself a writer, and I didn't want to write a shitty book. So I wrote the whole book, and he gave me some several people did that for me. Gave me some suggestions, some tweaks, and he helped formulate those questions at the end of each chapter, and we worked on that together. But we did not. But I wrote the whole book, which I'm proud of and saddened by, and still feel the scars of. I just hate writing.
So how long did it take? I mean, did you just like bang it out over like
17 years? No. I had deadlines. When you work with a publisher, you're basically an employee. And a lot of people don't get that. They're like, I want a book deal. I would do it. It sucks. Listen, I'll have another book deal with them. It'll all be great, or with someone else. And of course, I'll continue to do this, hitting New York Times and all that good stuff. But
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard, and you're an employee, and they have a deadline, and you meet that deadline, or you don't get paid.
Yeah.
And not only do you not get paid, you've signed a contract that you're going to have to pay them damages, right, for
Oh
not
wow.
hitting your deadline.
Wow.
So I had to do it, and you know me, Nick. I mean, I'm going to hit my
How
deadlines
you
and do what I'm
do
supposed to do.
anything? I
Is
mean,
how you do it
yeah.
exactly. But I did it. I first planned to go to a hotel for 2 days and do the basic outline, and I did, and I checked into this really nice hotel. Did you go to the Umstead when you were in the mastermind? I think you missed that mastermind, but it's a
Yeah.
gorgeous property.
Is that the one out on the West Coast?
No, Raleigh. It's the one in Raleigh, North
Oh,
Carolina.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
beautiful. So I checked in to do the first round and got like the worst bronchitis any human being has ever gotten in their life.
Oh
So
no.
instead of working on it, I just hacked in the hotel room and like ended up calling like a nurse's hotline in the middle of the night because I thought I was going to die. Of course, this is all like my own making, right? Because I do not want to write. I hate writing. So then the next time came up and I did carve out a couple of days. And so for me, if you look in total, it probably took me 10 to 12 days to write the book. I didn't do it all at once because
wow.
I don't have
Yeah.
any level of attention span. But probably took me 10 to 12 days to write the book. And then, of course, you go into edits and all that good stuff.
Cool. And so from that, like, tell us about the marketing side of things. I thought what was really cool was how you set up the product launch. So you had affiliates promoting, and I love that you have 3 different buckets. So anyone could participate, whether you had a big email list or a little one, or so you allowed people to come in at 3 different levels and could participate in and promoting the launch for it. And so tell us a little bit about how you structured that launch and what you liked about it, and any positive or negative takeaways that you may have had from it.
Well, I would start by saying, remember that book publishers do not sell books. Book publishers print books. So if you think you want a book deal because you want to sell a lot of your books, they will only take you on if you can prove that you can sell books. So don't be confused by the fact that getting a publishing deal is going to sell books. Getting a publishing deal might get you a little press. It gives you some foundation. It might give you some cachet, but they print books. They don't sell books. So we knew that we had to sell our own book. So we put together a program where you did our program and you either got 10 copies of the book, or you did an advanced level of the program and you got 45 copies of our book to kind of do a book club. Almost like what you're doing here, but to have those copies to either give to your clients or to do some kind of book club. Or you could donate them to Coastal Carolina University, which is our, they have a huge business school here. It's our local university. Or you could donate to Lees McRae College, which is my alma mater. Or you could donate it for our mission work in Africa to take it to the women in Africa that are business owners. So that's how we structured it so we could move books. I did something that I made up the names for, and I called it individual book sales, mini bulk, and big bulk. So mini bulk is what I just explained to you, that choice of 10 books or 45. Big bulk was we had 2 or 3 large corporations that bought anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 books, and they gave them to their clients and their customers. And then individual sales were what we did at the very, very end, just to catch one-offs, and we did that. So we went for JV partners, and I wanted anyone to participate. There's a lot of big folks out there that have lists of 100,000, 200,000, and they're sometimes the shittiest performers. And I know this. It's the big secret in internet marketing. And that person with the list of 500 sometimes will move 100 books for you. And the person with a list of 200,000 will move 10 books for you. So we put people into categories of big fish, which was a list of over 40,000, kind of, that would be our whales, to our, our mackerel and tuna, which was people whose list was 7,500 or more, to our guppies, who was, we don't care what's on your list. It's under 7,500. It could be 2 people. It could be 2,500 people. And you could win prizes, and you participated at your list level. And we also did something a little different than most people. We did the contest based on opt-ins as opposed to conversions. And that was a personal reason. I never like to do anything that doesn't have more than 2 or 3 missions, and we wanted to make the New York Times bestseller. We had a money amount that we wanted to make off of this launch, but we also wanted to add 20,000 people minimum to our list.
Cool.
And so we based the contest on opt-ins, and I think we ended up adding 32,000 to the list or something
Sweet.
like that.
Huge.
Yeah.
So overall, you're happy with that launch style for the books? You
I
hit the
really,
goal,
yeah,
and then some.
Yeah, I was really happy. We hit all of our goals. We hit our financial goals. We hit, am I happy with that launch style? Yes, I would do it again. I just hate those kind of launches with a ton of JV partners because everything becomes so, you know me, I'm an in-person person. Yeah. So I do a lot of events, and that's always my primary way of doing business, because what happens is that Sally is on your list, Nick, but Sally actually came to your list through Shanda Sumter. So Sally has come through Shanda, through Nick, now to me. So she's really distilled 3 times over. So you have to do some really long tail marketing to turn that person into somebody who didn't just buy your $200 or even $1,000 program, but I'm always going for the high-end sale. And so it's a long tail to get that person there. And when you do heavy online marketing, that's your biggest bitchers. They complain. They don't like that when the book came. When it came, it was the wrong color. And the reason they're your biggest bitchers is they are trained to buy small and invest little. And so they tend to be complainers. So listen, I could do a whole webinar on why I think internet marketing can actually hurt a business as opposed to help it. And I say that, and yet we use it all the time to grow our business. So I loved the launch. We accomplished everything. It did a lot of good for me, and it brought up a lot of stuff that you do when you go heavy online marketing.
Sure. Okay. Cool. And are you getting a little bit of feedback coming back here and there?
I've got nothing.
Or is it just me? Nothing.
It's definitely just you.
Good. All right,
but I don't have anything. I'm good.
Okay. All right. So give me 1 second. I'm going to just do. I may have to join back.
Okay.
We good? We're back? Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's definitely very good, feedback and about the launch. It's interesting. So some of the bad internet marketing stuff, so it sounds like, the email list, the quality, things like that. How was overall? I thought it was really cool how you reached out to other, joint venture partners. It was super cool with the Tiffany's box, with the champagne flutes, and, it's like that's you, making a splash and getting in front of people, and it's for everybody, it's all about what's in it for them, and you reached out and you were asking for something, but you did it in such a cool way, and it just got on everyone's radar screens, and that was really cool, hit the goals. And so what would you say, what was the best part about that launch style? What did you like the most about it? And then what was the one thing that if you could change or do differently?
Well, we're the richest people that nobody knows. I mean, I intentionally built my business without partners. A lot of, most people build it off of a lot of JV partners, and I intentionally didn't do that a long time ago because I didn't want to really be beholden to anyone, and I wanted what I like to call fresh fans, right? Not fans that come through a lot of other people. So when I did this launch for the first time in my 6-year history, $6.5 million business, I was like, I got to make a splash. I'm always surprised that people, come to me and go, oh, such and such introduced me to you, and I've never heard of you. Not to be egotistical and say I can't believe no one's ever heard of me, but you know what I mean. I've kind of built what I've built organically and sometimes under the radar. And so I knew I had to get people's attention. So to our big fish, we sent out Tiffany boxes with champagne flutes, and to our middle folks and some of our lower folks, we sent out black boxes that actually had a little, it looked like tequila, but it was really a shot glass. Oh, actually.
I got one of those bad boys.
Yeah. A shot of hell
I used it right away.
Exactly. Good job. Good boy. And then it had some little party favors in it. And all of the boxes had our collateral in it that described about the launch. So we really wanted to get people's attention. And it really worked because we ended up having people like Evan Pagan, who didn't get a box. He wasn't on my list, but he heard about the boxes and ended up being a JV partner. So that worked really well. Again, go offline and hit some folks with, go leave online and go offline and hit some folks with some offline stuff. That worked really well for us. And we did it through a postal system that told us when the box had been delivered. So 24 hours later, we made immediate phone calls to everyone to lock them into a JV position. So that worked swimmingly. My goal was to have 100 partners, and we had 232.
Sweet.
So yeah, it worked out really great. What do I wish I had done differently when it came to
Mm-hmm.
that, or different? Probably, probably, not probably, starting sooner. I did a very bad thing. This launch happened January 11th, and we started this process in November. The
Yeah.
fact that we pulled this off does not make us smart. It makes us a lucky-ass miracle. And we just got behind. I have a busy company, and we meant to start September-ish. That was our goal. And the fact that so many people said yes in such a short period of time was great, and we really messed ourselves up by 4 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, that short a time frame to pull all that off, that's crazy. I think it's
It
I want
was
to come
crazy.
I want to come back to team and how you built your culture at some point, just because I think it's really amazing how you've done that. But outside of that, so what would you say as far as for someone if they're considering self-publishing or going to a publisher? I mean, there's like an advance from Wiley? Is that attractive because they're going to do the publishing? You've got to do your marketing either way.
Right.
What would you say the big pros and cons between going with a publisher like Wiley, if you can pull that off, or
Sure.
going on the self-published side?
Well, you're probably not going to get published unless you self-publish first.
Yeah.
For a few reasons. Again, they want to prove that you can sell books.
Yeah.
And prove that you have a following. So you probably want to self-publish first. That goes without saying. And yeah, an advance is attractive. For me, I know how to make money, so I wasn't so concerned with the advance. I really just wanted the backing of a publisher if we were going to go to the New York Times route, and we were really going to put a lot of PR effort in and all of that in addition to the marketing and sales. So for me, it worked out well that I had self-published 2 books and then got this opportunity, and this opportunity combined with hitting the Times and hitting a Wall Street Journal bestseller and some others. So for us, it worked out really well. And I would say if you haven't published anything yet, you need to self-publish first. You need to learn the process of writing a book. You need to learn the process of selling a book. And the main thing is that a self-published book is used for what I like to call a big business card. So it can get you speaking gigs, it can get you partnerships and clients, and so you want a book, and don't worry so much about the publisher until you have built a big following and you can back up selling books to a publisher.
Wow, that's cool. For some reason, I actually used to think that self-publishing, and if it didn't go great, that it could hurt you. But basically, they like to see that experience, grow your following, and okay. And then what about?
Think about just for a second. Think about 2 of the best-selling books in the self-help industry of all times were self-published books that then a publisher took over, and that's Louise Hay's Heal Your Own Body, and Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah,
wow, I didn't know that about Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's crazy.
They were both self-published books that were picked up by publishers.
Wow, okay. And so as far as the New York Times, I mean, is that just as simple as just hitting a certain number of books sold? Or is it like based on what else is on the market and it's the list, like the top 10? Or is it just you hit a certain number in a certain set of time and boom, you're good? Or
no, it's exactly what you said. It is a certain number during a certain time period going up against certain people. So you can pretty much know the number you need to gun for. We were gunning for 11,000 sales.
Okay.
And we ended up quickly doing 12,000, and since the 2 or 3 months past that, we've done about almost 19,000. So we've sold really, really well. But 11,000 was what we were gunning for, but if a book dropped in, 3 or 4 unexpected, and you had no idea, you're guaranteed nothing. That's just a number to shoot for, right? It's a number to aim for. But, as my friend Larry Wingett always says, he goes, you think you're golden in that damn Ava Gardner, Ina Garden, does a cookbook and everybody's screwed. So
that'd be crazy. And so post book launch, what have you found from the the New York Times bestseller? I mean, have you seen some like noticeable brand impact or opportunities that have come up or new circles to network with, or has that been like a very obvious and apparent thing, or is it just something that you feel like it's trickling into right now, or?
I think it's been both. I think there's been some trickle effect. I mean, we had some of the best sales we've ever had at our last Be the Change event.
Sweet. Cool.
Yeah, and it was just a couple of weeks ago, and it wasn't our biggest event. Last year was our biggest event. We had about 1,000 people. This year it was about 800,
Oh, wow.
it was our best sales, and I think that had a big part to do with the book launch.
Okay.
But also we've had, we just got an email from a big company asking us to name our price for a keynote. We've been asked to do keynotes. We've had to turn a few down, actually. Unfortunately, I kind of have a crazy schedule, but the keynotes have come in from the New York Times bestseller. Definitely those book sales that, we hit our 12,000 or so, but those that have come from.
Okay.
They just did a reprint, and of course the new reprint says New York Times bestseller on it.
Sweet.
We were in 32 airports nationwide on the bestseller list in the airport. So we've had people from all over the world, say, we found your book. It's been an amazing opt-in. It's been an amazing traffic generator. So we're seeing some fast effects and definitely seeing some trickle effects.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what's so cool about it is that, like you said, it's your business card, it's the branding, positioning, and that thing is just a lead magnet, with opt-ins filled throughout and, driving fresh, new people and prospects that have a whole lot of respect.
Read your book, right? It's not just like, oh yeah, I'll get the free CD, but they went into a store and paid $22 or whatever. They've invested in you already.
Yeah, super cool. So now what I'd love to do is just to dive in a little bit about our 4 pillars. So just a couple quick, tidbits on marketing, mindset, purpose, and networking. So one of the things that always comes up, with our clients is trying to, get each person to that point where they're in that alignment where work is simple. It's kind of like, I think about the amount of challenge and the amount of strife I had as an entrepreneur and failing forward fast and then meeting you and getting really aligned. Like, I will never forget when you said, Nick, what effing pisses you off? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm pretty happy guy for the most part. And it was my background story, it was the fact that most entrepreneurs, I got sold the bill of goods in network marketing that it was financial freedom and all this amazing lifestyle, and then internet marketing was jet setting and beaches with a laptop, and none of that stuff was true. Everyone was working like crazy, and then getting all that in alignment with my purpose to help people live their life on fire. So I think about it as what's their background story, what's their stance and strategy, but like if you're going to take someone that they feel like they've got a gift inside them, there's a message, they need a little bit of clarification, but how would you look at drilling down and to figure out what your purpose is, or what is that passion, or you're maybe the person, they're working in a job, they're not really crazy about it, and they want it to do something more, but they're not sure which way to go. Would you look at discovering that purpose?
I don't think it matters. I don't think that, remember, the definition of passion is an uncontrollable emotion. You do not want an uncontrollable emotion building a business. So I don't think you worry about passion or purpose. I think you figure out something you're good at. And then you do it long enough that you're really passionate about it. When you think about Steve Jobs and you think about, all of the greats, right? Richard Branson. None of them took their passion and went after it. Steve Jobs was passionate about yoga. He was living in retreats and passionate about, thinking on a higher level and mindset. And, Richard Branson had nothing to do with what he did now, but they figured out something they were good at. Now, don't we know later in life all of that stuff that Steve Jobs was studying and loved when he was younger, he brought into the company and the culture of Apple? But I think that there's a great book out right now, I don't know if you've read it, called Be So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport. And he's amazing. Cal Newport, Be So Good They Can't Ignore You. He is a professor at Georgetown, and he can prove that anybody who starts a business based on passion will fail. Wow. Because it is all emotional as opposed to what works. And it's a great book, and it's just an amazing amount of learning in it, because we're all obsessed with what can I be passionate about and love every day. Well, I don't want to do that for a living. If you want to know what I love every day, like we just bought a Sea-Doo, and we've got 2 dogs, and I have 2 kayaks, and I have this house that sits on the water, and I'm passionate about getting done with this webinar and going home and sitting in an Adirondack chair and having a glass of wine, and if it's high tide, maybe going out in the boat. That's what I'm passionate about, right? I enjoy this, and I'm good at it, and I've gotten better at it, and I love my work. But if you think you can be as passionate about your work as you can getting laid, as you can like loving to go out on a boat, as you can, you're crazy. And you shouldn't, right? Do your work so you can be passionate about other things and hopefully really love your work. So I really think you find something you're good at and you become so masterful at it, you're really passionate about it. I was not passionate about marketing in the beginning. I didn't know anything about it. I was learning, I was growing, and then I started to teach it. And then the better I got at it, the harder I worked at it, the more I enjoyed it and the more passionate I got about it. That great film Jiro Dreams of Sushi, which we watched in one of our masterminds, he was not passionate about sushi. They just told him that's what you're going to do as a child. But he worked at it so hard and became a master at it that now he's extraordinarily passionate about it. So I say find something you're good at, because I'll tell you what you'll become really passionate about: a shit ton of money. If you can make a lot of money, money is not the most important thing in the world, but it touches everything that is. And so if you can make money to have freedom and choices and live a lifestyle that you want, you'll become passionate about your work. And if you become, fall out of love with your work or something, you'll have the money and the resources to start something else and something new or an offshoot that you become passionate about. A few years ago, I was getting a little stagnant in the business. I wasn't out of love with it. I just thought I need to do something new, and I started Hell Yes Studios. So for me, that was a new thing to work on in the business, and I got a lot of my, mojo back because it was a new thing to work on. Now we're in the process, of working on Hell Yeah Culture and Hell Yeah Hiring. We have a whole, also Hell Yeah Nation, which is a whole line of merchandise, and we've been working really closely with Life is Good. Company. And so it's about the core of what I do is business coaching and marketing consultant, but I've got all these offshoots that keep me energized and alive, but that hard work in the middle core is what allows me to do the other things.
That is super cool. That's a really great way to look at it, because there's a lot of straight passion, the passion test and all the different things about passion. So super cool. So find what you're good at and keep doing it. And what is it, 10,000 hours till you master something, and when you study that. So very cool. So how about mindset? So, we've got the mindset of from the book, how I do anything is how I do everything. But what are some things, is there a particular technique or any advice about someone on how they can get the right mindset to go through the hurdles as an entrepreneur? I think about you saying things like, this shit is hard, that's why it works, but how did you end up getting the mental toughness to go through to build a business of this size? I mean, there's lots of challenges, lots of moving parts, but what would, whether it's a book or maybe a technique or something, how did you get your mindset to be this rock solid, mindset that we see before us right here?
I only worked on one thing. And I was taking the train, because I was in a day job when I started my business, and I was taking the train from New Jersey to New York City, and I wrote it down in a notebook. I used to just use it as brainstorming time and trying to build the business. And I wrote it down, and it stopped me in my tracks. I don't even know where it came from, but I wrote, if you're willing to make a fool of yourself, this is all going to work out, Suzanne. And so I didn't work on trying to overcome fear. I didn't try to work on confidence. I didn't try to work on charisma. I just said, get up every day and be the biggest ass in the room, right? Do the risky stuff, do the crazy stuff, do the embarrassing stuff. And if you can get to a place where you don't give a damn about what people think about you, but you're doing the next good thing for you, and you're saying yes to every opportunity, and and all of that good stuff, it's all going to work out. And what happens when you live your life that way, where you don't give a shit what people think about you, two things happen. One is that you don't have to worry about fear or confidence or charisma, because you just live in that way. And the second thing that happens is you separate people into two categories: fans and haters. And when you have that kind of point of view, everything is magic. I actually have a, hold on. I actually have this. I printed off the other day. I love it. It says, "Don't worry about the haters. They are just angry because the truth you speak contradicts the lie that they live." I don't even know if you can see that.
Oh,
Probably not.
snap.
Right? But
Hey.
right? But that's what happens. I'm just going to say it again. Don't worry about the haters. They are just angry because the truth you speak contradicts the lie that they live. And so if you could only work on that one thing, getting into a mindset and a place and a clarity around, I'm willing to be the ass today. It's Tuesday. Oh, shit, it's Wednesday. Willing to be the ass again. Oh, it's Thursday. Here comes the ass. And I don't mean ass as in be an asshole, be mean. I mean making a fool of yourself, taking the risks. Oh, should I go speak to this group of people? I don't know. I'm going to do it anyway. Am I ready to sell this product? I don't know, but I'm going to sell it because there's got to be a time to do it, right? No time like the present. So it's the only thing I worked on, and working on that worked on everything else.
That's crazy. That's Mama Celeste Unsworth back in the day. Who cares what people think? I used to always hear that. But it's stepping out into the outside the comfort zone, and it's so hard for many people to do that. But that's such a cool philosophy. It's simple. Takes all this mindset stuff and brings it back into one simple and easy point. So, and then how about as far as marketing goes? So what I love about with working together, that day when you named Life on Fire and we did it within a 30-minute window. That was crazy. But, Suzanne's always good for, hey, I've got this idea for a product or a webinar, and it was like, boom, headline, tagline, for the business. I mean, just you're always rattling off, marketing techniques. So twofold. One is, how did you educate yourself, or what can we do to educate ourselves to be really on point with marketing? And then I want to hear some tips about what you're finding successful.
I would say that what made me so good, because marketing is a lot of copy, right? It's a lot of attention-grabbing headlines and creating experiences. So what served me really well was theater, right? Okay. So theater is always creating experiences, and you know this. I tell all my clients to go do improv. Because improv is always yes and that's what you need in marketing and in sales, the yes and, not the no but or the or. It's always the and so that really helped me a lot. I, as a person who worked in theater and someone who had done improv, I always tried to be in the mindset of, if I want someone to have an experience right now, right? Like, Nick, if you and I, this hangout is an experience and not just a hangout, or if I'm doing a webinar and it's an experience. And that's why, my events, the budget this year is like $678,000, because I'm committed to creating experiences. The Broadway cast of Chicago opened our event this year. And it's about, if I want to take people on a spiritual, emotional, mathematical, and marketing journey, I can't get into here, I have to get into here. And so the best marketing advice I can ever give is stop thinking from here and stop thinking about what your people want and start thinking about what your people feel.
That's crazy. And you know what? This reminds me of when I flew out for our VIP day just this past December. And so I had done a presentation at Marie Andros' event. Suzanne watched it, the video, if you will, and critiqued it. And that was a crazy day. You gave me some really good tough love, and I sat down and, well, first of all, I thought the VIP day was 8 hours. I changed that real quick.
I changed you. Come back.
I did switch around my programs and stuff. They're no longer 8 hours, but
nobody can take 8 hours in. Too much.
And it was funny because they were mush after 3, like you said, and but it was crazy because we sat down, and basically you gave me some really good tough love, and I mean, you were just like, Nick, that was the worst effing presentation. You're like, the only reason people bought was because 4 of them were going to buy anyway. 2 of them thought you were cute. I mean, you just like laid into me, and it was awesome because that's what I needed to hear. I needed to be, you shocked the system. But when you said that it was all about emotions, right? And I knew that. I mean, I've sold stuff, but it just rattled me in a different way to hear it in that way. And what was so crazy, I don't even know if I've told you since then, I completely changed like the next presentation that I did, and it was literally, I think, 2 days later, and I just threw the presentation out. And it went all story, all emotion, and we closed out our Firestarter Elite program, the $3,000 a month, from the freaking webinar. So tell us about that. So tell us about the difference between, selling with emotions versus, in your head, or is there ways that you can get there? Is it storytelling, or what would be a tip for someone that they can
actually,
use
I swear I don't usually have resources sitting to the left of me, but I have.
Is there like a trunk over there?
I know, it's crazy. Well, I'm starting a 2-day selling from the stage training that I do tomorrow, so I've just been working on my stuff, and there's a great stat in here, and just since it's available to me, I don't want to mess it up. But one of the things that has been proven over and over and over is that it's emotion then fact. So it's not that fact isn't important. So no decisions are based in logic, right? There are 4 top emotions, and you may want to write these down. 4 top emotions: fear, pain, need, and being left out. That's the only emotions we run off of. Fear, pain, need, and being left out. So people make buying decisions based in emotions, but then they validate their decision based in fact. So, great example, 2013 red Corvette. The guy wants it, right? He really wants that car. It's going to make him look thinner. He's going to look younger. He's going to get hot chicks. It's all emotional, right? Fear of getting old, pain of, will I ever have the car of my dreams?
Divorce he just had.
Yeah, the divorce he just had. Being left out, like I don't want to be left behind. So he goes, I'm going to buy that Corvette. Well, guess what? He walks in to buy the Corvette, and it's got this huge banner in the store that says it was just rated the safest sports car this year. So he made the decision based in emotion. He hands over the credit card based in validation. So it's emotion then fact. And I think that's really key, and I think it's really important because it is emotion, and you lead with emotion, but you always back it up with validation and facts.
Awesome. That is a really cool example. So, all right. Well, then how about let's go down the path of marketing that's working really well for you. So where are you finding your best opportunities? So I know you love live events, you're doing online marketing, but where would you say out of all the different places that people can market, where are you finding the most leverage that someone watching right now that could take advantage of? Where are you seeing opportunity?
It hasn't changed in 100 years. Speaking.
Wow.
There is scientific data after scientific data that people trust people they see in person. They trust people that inspire them or move them. And when you're eyeball to eyeball with somebody, there's nothing better. So I will take speaking and being in front of people every day over every form. And if you took every other form away from me, if you took my database away from me, I could build this business back in a year, and I would just do it via speaking.
Wow.
Now, secondary to that is what we're doing now, live streams, Hangouts, because we now have this cool technology in the world that allows us to get pretty close to being in person, but it's still a barrier. And the reason it's a barrier is I have my trunk that you said over here. That's distracting me. My team was setting up tables out there. I'm seeing that, and that's always.
I think the sea-doos that are getting warmed up right now are.
Yeah, that's for sure. But the cat's in the house, the children are in the house, so there's still a barrier here that when you're sitting in an audience and you're with a person, nothing beats that. We're doing a lot. Listen, you're the expert on this, but we're doing a lot of ads. We're doing a lot of Facebook ads. We're doing a lot of Google ads, and they're working well for us. They have a long tail to them, right? So there's more of a long tail marketing strategy there, but we spend tens of thousands of dollars a month on it, and it certainly helps us with list building and that kind of thing.
Sure.
I haven't gone the podcast route yet. You know me, I'm always like, I'm not so much on the hot trend. I let people play it out, but I know some people are getting some great results on it. I'm a person that I believe in the 10-10-10 method. That's 10 minutes, 10 months, and 10 years. I want to see 10-month results, not 10-minute results. So I don't usually invest my team and my resources and my talents into a strategy until people can show me that it's got 10 months and 10-year results. Because I think you end up wasting a lot of time bouncing to 10-minute things, and there's a lot of them out there. But I know a lot of people are getting good results, so I'm watching that closely. And I still use video. Video is huge for us. We're using it in different ways. Some of the opt-in pages and things like that, the videos need to come off of those these days.
I know. I try every time. I know, every single time. I'm like, no, maybe this one will work. Never.
And if you want to see somebody really pissed off, Melanie or my partner, she is so convinced. Every time one of those ugly landing pages comes up with like the door, just a door with no copy, she goes, I hate it! But it works and it converts. So we still do a ton of video, but we're not using it on opt-in pages and things like that anymore. We're more using it for storytelling. Okay. You know, and as some really high, cool, almost documentary style storytelling in our launches and our programs and that kind of thing. So that's what I'm saying that's working.
Awesome. And then as far as events go, let's just say for someone that's interested in pursuing that, would you say, you know, go out and do the sponsorship route and get on stages, or go out and fill your own rooms, or both?
I would say both. Don't try to go do a 3-day event, right? Do a half-day event and because people get confused. They hear event and they think it's 150 people, or my event that's 1,000 people, and it can be 20 people in a room. So I would say do your own small-scale event and absolutely go sponsor, get on other people's stages, do their breakouts. You learn so much. And, you know, I just finished Be the Change, and, you know, a lot of our buddies, you know, this is what sponsorship can do for people. We just finished Be the Change little over 2 weeks ago. Ree Perez has closed like $80,000 in money. Matthew just texted me and said he's closed like $78,000. Red Elephant's closed like $90,000. Gary Henderson closed $120,000. This is in 2 weeks' time. So if you can kind of hitch your wagon to somebody who can fill a room, like I can fill a room, and other people, not just me, that do this as well, sponsorships can be cash, cha-ching.
Yeah, very cool. And that was one thing that you know, I had never done events, and we did sponsorship. That was really cool to expand our horizons. And I've got to say that the first event that we did, the one day, was amazing. Like that is one of my moments of starting this business that for the rest of my life I'll never forget. Like something happened to me that day, and it just was flowing out of me, and it was
like light switch on.
Yeah,
light on fire.
And I, you know. And we had people
that,
like random people came up for the hot seats. I did 2 of them, and one of them left her job. She replaced her income in 60 days, and the other guy totally changed his business. So it was just, I feel like it wasn't, for us, it was a great revenue maker, and that first event, which was interesting, that we made more money on the smaller event. When we had Gary Vaynerchuk, we actually made less, and I remember you saying, it's with a celebrity kind of speaker, it might be about them, and it was. So it was crazy that was phenomenal for brand positioning, which was a good little lift. But all said and done, we made more money on the other one, of course, well, especially with all the expense and stuff. But that was a game changer for us, and that set us up on a different level.
Can I crass for 1 second?
Yeah. Is something going to come out of the trunk?
No, I promise. But just for the audience watching. You know, when we talk about live events versus online marketing, or what we're doing here, and online marketing, what we're doing here serves an amazing purpose. Yeah. But it's the difference between watching porn and actually doing it, right? It's like porn serves a purpose. It can get you to where you need to go, but everybody's going to trade the real thing every day of the week. And when you are standing in front of those people, that interaction that you have and that connection you have, you can't put it on camera. You can't put it in film. You can't put it in a webinar. And that's the beauty of mixing your business with what we're doing here, with live, with events, with online marketing.
Cool. So this is a selfish question, but what's your take on doing a live event with a high upfront? So, what I've seen you be super successful with, and we've done, and it was great, is more easier entry. So it's 97 or free to get in, and then you're selling, you know, a $10,000 program at the end or whatever. Versus, you know, maybe it's a little higher end. You're getting like a couple. It's almost think of like a Gary Vaynerchuk as someone that's hanging out at like a 50-person mastermind, and people are spending 10 grand to be there, and it's unique, and it's, like you said, experiences where you're doing stuff on like boats, and just unique. Think of it as like Mavericks meets Evan Pagan's Altitude. Feedback on that. What do you like, don't like about it?
The market is fairly saturated. There's only about 3 people doing it. You know, Evan just did a mastermind that he charged $5,000 for. He did pretty well filling it, but I watched that process. It was not easy. You know, Brendan did it, whatever, 2 years ago, a year ago. He did the 10,000. You don't keep seeing that come around, though, do you? Which is
Yeah.
really interesting. So the
Yeah.
market is fairly saturated. You know, I do one event a year that costs $10,000 a pop. That's the one that starts tomorrow. We limit it, though. We put, 12 to 20 people in it every time.
Oh, okay.
And we run it twice a year. But the market, it's very hard unless your stature, and most people went to Evan or went to Brendan because it was Evan and Brendan. And my gosh, if they're, charging that much, there must be some kind of, magic happening. And there were great events, I'm sure. I didn't go to them. But I think you just have to be realistic to a saturated market where everybody else can go for $197 or $497, or maybe they even get to bring a friend for a free ticket. And the interesting thing about looking at those events, I happen to kind of know what they made from those events, and my event outperforms them. So what's financially? I don't mean necessarily in their total business, but so why not get more people into the tribe, right? And do it that way. And yes, there are certain things that I think should have a high price point. Selling from the stage training is my most intimate training. It's what I do the best. It is my secret sauce, and that which comes easiest to you is what you must charge the most for. It took me 5 years to even do this training because, you've worked with me. It's my magic stuff, selling from the stage. And so when I said I'm going to actually give this away in an specific way, you got to pay $10,000 for it for 2 days. Yeah. And so I think there's a place for it, but I'm a bigger fan of a low barrier of entry events. I think they perform better.
Bigger tribe. And so I was just like kind of noodling with the idea of like something where it's like a Tim Ferriss closed group, and but make it all about networking, kind of like Joe Polish's Mastermind, like his 25K.
Well, that's a mastermind. That's different.
Yeah, mastermind. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because for a mastermind, I mean, my mastermind, my Hellraisers 1 mastermind now is $45,000 to $75,000. Yeah. So it's and we have 24ish people in there. So that's a different thing. So if you're talking about a mastermind, that goes into the fulfillment category versus the event category.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, I know we just got a couple minutes left, so I want to just buzz through these real quick. One of the pillars of a life on fire, we always think about it as networking, and that's like we've just gotten so much leverage out of growing our network, and hanging with you as one of the benefits was not just getting coached by you, but it was like you unlocked this new world of contacts, and Ree Perez, he branded us, and Goldfarb wrote copy. I still haven't seen the Life on Fire tattoo on your buttocks yet. Is that happening or no? I is very clear that when we get the name, it has to be cool enough to be tattooed on our bodies, and I'm getting it. I hope, Suzanne.
I'm trying to get somebody to tattoo Hell Yeah. We did have a woman this year at Be the Change that had all of her nails done in Hell Yeah. It was very cute. So
that's cool.
Yeah, If I gotta do I'm trying to get my butt smaller before I put Life on Fire on it.
So sweet, so sweet. So as far as networking goes, what would you say? I mean, it's been awesome to just see how your events and the contacts and and getting up, obviously the book is going to elevate your brand, but what would you say is one of the takeaways that you could give someone as far as networking and building relationships?
It's funny because I'm really an extrovert, and I'm not a great networker. I never have been, and I think and that's networking in the traditional sense. I know we're talking about it in a lot of different ways, but I just want to say that to people because they may be on here and they may be an extrovert and like charisma plus, and they're like, I hate networking, and I get it. And for me, the problem is that I can't stand bullshit, and you feel like sometimes you have to bullshit to network. So what I did was I really put myself for 3 years of my life into a pedagogical experience. And so I went everywhere to learn, and I would just kind of tend to attract people that were like me, or I would connect with people who were like me. So instead of getting into this world of like, I've got to network and build my network, I really said, I'm going to be like the crazy student for 3 years, and I'm going to go everywhere. I'm going to say yes to every opportunity. I'm going to meet everybody, but it's all for the purpose of learning. And for me, for whatever reason, that worked really well. I went to every event in the industry. I met every person. And everywhere something was going on, here was Suzanne. It was like, the scary Jack in the Box. I was always there. But I did it from that pedagogy place and really learning. And for me, that worked really well. I met a lot of people. I connected with a lot of people. And it was more honest, too, because I had a purpose. The
Yeah.
why wasn't to meet somebody. The why was to learn, and I might
Sure.
meet somebody in the process.
Cool. That's huge. I think the events, especially, I went to one of Evan Pagan's, and that was the guy that bought my business, my first big client. I mean, it just putting yourself in the right events has always been key, that face to
Absolutely.
face. So the last thing to wrap up is just on lifestyle. So the last pillar is the fully balanced life. So tell us about, something that you do to kind of stay balanced, and it could be anything from time management tips. It could just be fun things that you do, like the wine on the sea-doo, or just anything that you feel that would be a good takeaway for someone that's building their business. They're crazy, they're chaotic, and any tips on just how to keep this thing freaking balanced and keep you sane as you're building.
Well, the first thing is I'll say there's this great quote by Francis Ford Coppola that says, "There's nothing attractive about living within your means." And so the first thing I always do is I'm a splurger, right? I have nice things. I am expensive. And I'm proud of that, and I work hard to do it. So one of the
Yeah.
things I would say is I see some people working hard, but they don't pay themselves enough,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't take from the business, and a business is meant for you to take from it and then put that into your life. So that's number one. And secondly, I'll just be really honest with you and say, certainly I'm not a perfect person, and I could be more healthy. I could do more things to create maybe balance in my life. Although over the last couple of years I've built a great team, so I don't really work nights and weekends anymore unless I'm doing an event. That was a goal of mine. I said at 5 years, if I'm still working every night and every weekend, something's wrong. And that was a goal of mine, and I hit that. But I actually have a little heart condition called SVT, which is supraventricular tachycardia, and it's not serious. It's not life-threatening. It's the ugly redheaded stepchild on the arrhythmia heart stuff. All the cardiologists are like, yeah, we got real people with real problems here. But my heart will go from a normal rhythm to 180 beats a minute like that.
Whoa. Wow.
It will just happen. And you can usually stop it with some things like, I won't bore you with this condition, but you cough or you do some vagal move, they call them vagal movers, and you stop it. And you can also use some medication, which I hadn't chosen to do up until now. And there's also a heart ablation where they can go in. And again, it's the lowest on the rung of issues, but it's triggered by 4 things: sleep deprivation, stress, alcohol, and caffeine. So I've totally given up caffeine, and I have to sleep. I just have to. So I may not eat perfectly. I may not exercise as much as I need to, but everybody knows if I stay up, because like you said, you got on a thing, I might stay up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm on a thing, but I'm going to sleep till 9 or 10, and I'm going to come into the office late. I have to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, and it's kind of my... It's just my holy place, if that makes sense. And I think everybody needs their holy place. Is yours exercise every day? Is yours sleep? Is yours the way you eat when you're on the road? And you can't do it all perfect. But I feel like if you choose one, it really helps with your life balance. And I believe, this is going to be woo-woo, but I believe that, SVT is just something you're born with. You can't change it. But I believe I was born with it because I'm an overachiever. And I work really hard and I push myself. And it's a little bit of an alarm system for my body that says stop. And so I've learned over the last year to do that. And I was at my event 2 weeks ago, and I actually ended up in the ER.
That was nuts. I mean, I know, talk with Melanie, and I just didn't, and then I heard a little bit more of the story from Ree, and it was like, oh my God, you've got this big, huge production. If you guys could only imagine, I've never seen events like Suzanne's. I mean, you're talking when she says experience, it's ridiculous. You have to check it out and go to one, especially Be the Change. But I can't even imagine going through and having a year's worth of work and then, have that pop up and happen.
That's about building a team. It happened, and I wasn't worried for one beat. I said, I'm going back, I'm going to sleep for 3 hours, you're going on, team, you're going to do this. And no one, except the people that I asked to, step in, would have ever known unless I actually chose the last day to share it with the audience. So build a team. That helps with balance too.
All right, so that one last thing on that, because that is a struggle for so many people, so many clients. This is one of the things, like hiring. We go through contractors like we change freaking shoes. And so advice on hiring. and getting those right team members. Because the way I look at your office, it's unreal. I think from the amount of output and the culture, and everyone getting stuff done, and accountability, and you guys are having fun, and yet it's very young, it's hip, and from what I understand, like the pay, it works for the business. I think. So how the heck did you build all that?
Our salaries range from $30,000 a year to $350,000 a year. That's not even including myself and Melanie, who are above that. And so we have a wide range of talent in the office, but I think we've done really well because we've always known that we can train people on skill set, but we can't train them on personality. So a lot of our hiring is personality based, and I think we've come to 3 realizations. The first is, if you're in business, you're in the business of hiring. So we couldn't do this our first 2 years. We were way too intense about it, right? Like we were way too caught up. But we now realize that people will come and go. I am always hiring. Always. There's always an open position here because someone is always leaving. Right? And then we've got our solid constants who stay. But if you're in business, you're in the business of hiring. And the second thing we've learned is that you can't keep people. You can keep them motivated while they're here with incentives and all kinds of things, but you can't keep people. People are going to come and go. You just want them to be at their highest performance level while they're here. That's number 2. And number 3, most businesses are built on clients first, employees, I don't know, second, fourth. Our entire business is built on employees first, clients second. If employees are treated well and they're doing their job, they will take care of the clients, and the clients will feel like they're first.
Wow. Very cool, very cool. Oh, well, that's great tips. And all right, so final question would be, what's one thing that most people don't know about you?
I, from the age of 4 till the age of 17, was a professional water skier.
What? Still get out there?
No, God, no. I am way too fat and out of shape. But no. But I did. I was both a professional skier competition, and I was 11th in the nation the last year that I did it. And then I was in 2 show groups, like old school Cypress Gardens, with the ballot.
That's crazy. Well, and a fun fact, just a quick one. I've never stood up in water skis. When I went water skiing, it would drag me by my ass in my skipping on the water. I refused to let go, and I would literally be skipping all the way down.
You're not using the rocking chair technique.
Is that what it is?
You have to act like you're sitting in a rocking chair, and you have to give the give of a rocking chair and the exact position of a rocking chair, and it'll pop you right out of the water.
That's crazy. I mean, I for half a day I did it. It was gross. It was weird, but that was
hashtag water enema.
Yeah, pretty much. Not cool. All right, well, Suzanne, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for your time and for an amazing book, and I'm so excited to have you at our event. And
I'm excited to be there.
It's going to be so much fun. So I'm looking forward to. We got a call with Barry and Sage and stuff tomorrow and getting all that wrapped up.
Good.
But yeah, super excited to have you at our event. It's going to be so much fun. Looking forward to getting the coaching on selling from the stage. And then, how do people get in touch with you? What's the best way to communicate with you? What's the best, opt-in, freebie, something going on? But where should people go to check you out?
Just go to SuzanneEvans.org, O-R-G, SuzanneEvans.org, and if you need me urgently, you can send an email to support@SuzanneEvans.org, but I'd love for you all to check me out, and hopefully a lot of you will be at Nick's event, and I'd love to meet you in person.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Suzanne, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for hanging out, and if you have any questions or want to get all the show notes with all the quotes and with the links and resources and the books and even the movies. Was it Sushi with Jiro?
Euro Dreams of Sushi.
Yeah, awesome movie. So you can always check out lifeonfire.com, and you can get all the show notes from today's episode, and also connect. We'll have all the information about how to connect with Suzanne. And so you guys have a great rest of your day. And Suzanne, you enjoy that glass of wine on the CU.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Later.